June 12, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. The economic data that came out today was around 5:30 Pacific Standard, so it's about right here. Then you see this big brief rally that comes up for about 15 minutes and then it kind of went sideways. Overall, the price action was, it kind of had an early rally for the first 30 minutes. Then it got stuck in this sideways price action. This sideways price action was really noisy. Now, when you look at this from afar, it looks like there's probably going to be a ton of setups. But in fact, there weren't very many that I could find. There were second entries. But again, as with lately, I think maybe it's just getting into summer trading. The second entries didn't feel very safe. They're all kind of falling short for one reason or another. I did manage to take one trade right here, which was a winner. So, but then I only found maybe one more setup, but other than that, there weren't very many other setups that I could find. And as I was going through this, I kept looking back and trying to see if the second entries that I did identify were actually decent trades, and I could not justify any of them. And that kind of leaves it very dangerous for me because if I sit through this for many hours, I start trying to convince myself that things I passed up may have been an actually decent trade. And I think in the moment, if I don't really see it, it doesn't hit me in the face, then one, it's really not there, or two, my experience level at reading the chart and identifying a trade also isn't there. In which case, if it's in hindsight, okay, I can identify it, but I shouldn't try to feel bad or start inventing setups because that's gotten me in trouble. So as you can see here, it's getting really messy here. This is just a lot of crazy whipsaws. So you could, from afar, think, well, there's probably some second entries in here. Probably, like if you look at it from afar, you could say, well, there's a bunch of legs, but when you're in it in real time with the size of these moves, now they look like huge candles, but they're actually maybe only about 2 to 4, maybe 5 points, but they whipsaw so much that it's hard to trust. Plus, the EMA today wasn't really helping all that much, especially toward the later part of the day, because you can see this is 8 o'clock Pacific Standard, and that's only, and I trade Pacific Standard Time, so it's only about an hour and a half into the trading day. And then the rest of the day, you just get this sideways noise. So I don't think this review is going to take very long because there's only really two setups that I marked. One of them I did trade. I'm going to try to go through this rather quickly and not make the video longer than it has to. So pre-market, there was this push down, a bounce, and the second leg down. The second leg, this is all pre-market. I'm not trading this, but I do look at it to try to get better at chart reading to see if there was a setup. And really, there wasn't any setup. Maybe there was a second entry here. It's like a first entry long pullback. Technically, I have a second entry, but I saw it as a visual first, second, failure. But this is already two legs down, one leg, another two legs down. I'd be hesitant to try to short here. So it moves, it starts pushing up on this green up channel on the PMI, core PPI numbers. It breaks, tests the high, and starts moving sideways. It moves sideways here, opens. You have a first entry long pullback, second entry long. It's a bad signal bar. I don't want to enter on something like this as a doji. There's just not that much information. It just looks like in real time, it's just kind of puttering sideways. So it breaks the green channel, makes a new low, pushes up on this purple up channel. You have a first entry long, and that's all you get. Makes a new high, another first entry long. That's all you get. Makes another new high. I did identify, so this yellow up channel doesn't exist yet in real time, but I did see this, some kind of support being respected here. I also noticed that there was some kind of resistance being kind of respected here because it made one attempt to break through, kind of a breakthrough here, but it fell back shortly. Another attempt, and this time it fully broke through and closed above, but then it came right back down, made a second attempt, came back down. And I thought it was actually trading in this spike and this orange up channel. So I first noticed, okay, this resistance really isn't coming in as a factor anymore, but there looks like some kind of support here. So it came down from new high here. It's a first entry long. It creates this second entry long, first entry long, second entry long. I saw this. I saw, okay, you can discount this one kind of, but you can for sure say there's first bounce, second bounce, a third bounce. Also a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. I kind of like this trade because it looks like this previous line acting as a resistance is now potentially acting as a support. Support here is a break and I moved right back up. So it looks like it's reversing. Used to be a resistance, now it's a support. You also have another support here. I had two key entry points, first entry long, second entry long, multiple tests, decent signal bar. I entered, tried to save myself a few points. So I waited for this to break above, drop my order. It comes flushing down. My stop's below here, pushes up, and I actually went for 2 points because I saw there was enough room. If I'd gone for 1 point, I actually wouldn't have gotten out here because I got the entry on the pullback here. And then as you can see here, I wouldn't have gotten out, and I would have gotten out here, but I held for 2 points, got out here because I felt like it was going to push up to reach the high. So that's where I moved my stop from my runner all the way up to one tick above the entry, and I got stopped out. Unfortunately, if I was able to hold on a little longer, it really starts taking off. There's a second entry long here, but it's a bad signal bar inside. Really can't count that as a good trade or entry. Pushes up. I find this yellow up channel now because I first was working with this orange one, and I was thinking, okay, well, I drew this first and then I matched the bottom. So I'm watching it. It's acting as a pretty reliable resistance. It hits the sideways. Even if you find a second entry in here, I'm not keen on this because you can look at this. It's about 3, maybe 4 point range on a low ATR day, on a kind of a low volume day. So it comes back, hits the EMA, pushes through. Yes, you can find technical second entries, but I'm not interested in things like that. Starts pushing up, doesn't hit the other side. Break of this red, pulls back pretty far, breaks below the EMA. You have a new high, first entry long, pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long here. I just didn't really like that it broke through here. I was a little unsure of this. And watching the follow through, it opens here and immediately drops, and it actually comes back up. I didn't like the follow through here. So if you did try to enter and you were in on this trade, depending on if you're going for 1 or 2 points, you would have maybe have gotten it here, but you likely would have gotten stopped out on this guy or this guy. Or at least that's what I'm saying would have happened to me. So prices move down on this orange down channel, breaks, it's an overshoot here, pushes back, kind of look like it's respecting this orange down channel resistance. It's a first entry short. I saw this as a potential second entry short, but I wasn't ready to take the trade. Then after the follow through, the trade has gone without me, but I marked it because I wished this was actually a red candle, or at least a green one that closed at the low. I don't like when it closed higher than it opened because that means buyers were able to push it back up. So there's a little bit of doubt here. But in this case, it did work out, at least for one, maybe 2 point scalp. If you gone for anything more and you kept your stop up here, one of these guys would have stopped you out. Kind of just move sideways. It's another setup here. It's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. I really wanted this. So I was watching this. I think, okay, there's a potential second entry long. Had my order up here. I wanted to see a break above this guy. It never occurred. So when this one closed, the order that I thought of going long canceled. But I definitely wasn't thinking of going short because I realized or I noticed that there's a potential support here. So I'm not going short. This follow through doesn't convince me to go long. So it just becomes sit on my hands. And you see this big guy show up. So that's kind of, I try to brush it off because now it's a clear first entry, second entry, but there was no way to take this trade based off of the strength of this candle. If this candle was just green or just wasn't here at all and we were left with this guy, you could make an argument for a trade. Then prices continue moving, just kind of in this choppy range. Nothing really particularly like attractive about this price action right here. It's a new low. It's a first entry short. It's a failed breakout here. And then maybe you have a second entry long here, but it's a bad signal bar, so you would not be thinking of going long here. EMA is offering no help at all. Pushes up. So when it pushes up, I'm looking for a higher low, ideally higher low that comes back to the EMA. But after so many candles, I'd be hesitant to try to take another long after this is already breaking up and through. So it kind of comes back down. You have a new high, first entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long here. It's not a good signal bar. Below the EMA, I'm not too excited about this. Looks like it was one leg down, pushes up, kind of creates a second leg down. So it's 2 legs down. But what is it 2 legs down from? This is just confusing right now because it's a big leg up, pullback, sideways. Looks like there's 2 legs up, then 2 legs down. What's the bias of the market when I'm looking at this? I have no idea. Is it going to keep coming down? Is it going to keep going up? Is it in a range? This wasn't even a clean range. It was this initial range. Then this blue one shows up later. I couldn't really quite figure out what was going on. It pushes up, hits this kind of a triple test, a fail breakout. I'm wondering, okay, one, I don't like the signal bar, and two, there's really no setup. So now you have actually a first entry short, pushes down, and then it creates the second entry short. So this is actually the only other trade that I thought throughout the day that might have been worth taking, but I didn't take it. It's aggressive. So it looks like, so this blue channel doesn't exist as a range yet, but it does act as a support. So I did have this drawn as a resistance. I like that as a failed breakout of a potential trading range that I suspect is developing. It looks like a potential second entry short, also a lower high. I should probably just say I also thought it was a lower high here. It has a good signal bar close, but it just happened to bounce, or not bounce, stop short of this EMA. But I just said that the EMA isn't very reliable. So it's hard to really know for sure because it did break at the green, made one attempt. Could it bounce off the EMA and make a second attempt at the high? I wasn't sure, but I thought with this much strength, there's probably enough momentum for 1 point scalp. But I didn't want to take it though. So I would have entered the trade here. And if I was in the trade and seeing it close as a doji, that would have made me a little nervous, but it is a neutral, not neutral, it is a bearish doji, but it also closed right at the EMA. Then this candle would have, yielded the 1, maybe 2 point scalp. But again, seeing this stop short of the EMA is a little bit, I guess, I'm getting mixed signals. One, I'm not really sure the EMA is that valid, that important in this particular area of the price action. Two, it didn't test the high here, but you could say it's a visual, kind of like a first entry short, pullback, second entry short, and you could play it as a lower high. But I need something for me at my experience level, something a little more obvious, so I had to leave it alone. So now I'm actually looking for a lower high now. You get a lower high and push this down. The thing that stopped me from marking this and taking this trade is this. Okay, actually, this line doesn't exist yet. It felt really far and late to take this trade now. I was aware of this potential support here, bouncing off of down here. It might be even lower. So I actually didn't, actually, I guess I could mark this, but this is actually a hindsight marking. But in real time, I saw it, but I wasn't really sure what I was looking at. So actually, I'll just mark it as a failed second entry long. Well, actually, it's a second entry long. It technically hasn't failed yet because it never broke below. And if I didn't take a trade and I was waiting for an entry one tick below or at least a break, this would have made me cancel the order. And then finally it does push through. But then if you were entering on this, it would have tricked you, flushed all the way back up. And unless your stop's way up here, your stop's likely above maybe this guy or this guy, you would have been stopped out. And prices continue moving, pushes up, kind of gets choppy. I drew this trend line, but it doesn't fit quite well. This turned into a channel later, so this top one doesn't exist yet. I'll go ahead and just collapse it for now. So I'm playing off of this potential trend line support, which is up. I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, okay, is there a possible channel here? Maybe something like this, but it doesn't fit very clean. You got all these really close candles, doji after doji, 2 dojis in a row. I don't like that. It's moving down this green down channel. Doesn't look very clean. Bounce off this now a third time, maybe a fourth time. So I was ready to color it in, but it just doesn't feel safe. It just looks a little choppy. Pushes up, break, and then tests the low of this green down channel. Then starts moving down on this orange down channel. This is new high. First entry long, technically right here. Second entry long, you're not going long on this. This doesn't look safe at all. Pushes up, pushes back down, and it starts reversing. It's a first entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short here. This is where the second entry short's confirmed, but this isn't a good signal bar. I wouldn't have convinced you to go short here. Gets these 2 candles that are inside this one. So that's giving me pause. Pushes down, kind of bounces, and it's just getting noisy again. Starts pushing up. You technically have a local, well, you have a low here. It's a first entry short, second entry short, technically like a lower high, but you have the EMA cutting right through it in real time. I see this lower high. I'm not thinking much of it because it never broke below this guy. It finally does, and by the time this one forms, it's too late for the trade, in my opinion. Pushes back up, I'm just watching this. I drew this transparent red line. Doesn't feel very safe at all. Pushes back down through. The first entry long, pull back. Technically, I have a second entry long that's confirmed here, but it failed to break through the EMA. So maybe you're thinking first entry long, second entry long failure. But this is inside to this guy, so I'm not that excited about it. You do have a first entry long, second entry long failure here, but it looked like a trap because it pushed right back above the EMA. So I'm leaving that alone. Then it flushes down back like this. So like, how do you play something like that? That's just, in my opinion, really noisy and feels very risky. Then pushes down on this yellow down channel, new low, it's a first entry short, bouncing off what I thought was a developing larger blue channel. I'll actually color it in as something else. Let's go ahead and put this as, we'll just do gray. Bounces and starts pushing up, but this is already too late in the day because as you can see here, this is the last, starting from about right here, this is the last 10 minutes. I'm not going to take any trade through that. So definitely, this is just choppy. This isn't, in my opinion, that easy to trade. It feels very risky. I was lucky, I think, to even get one trade in, and then the second trade that I marked wasn't that awesome. So yeah, overall it was kind of it has been the going rate for this week been kind of choppy. I actually traded yesterday, but I didn't make a video because I only traded for I think like 30 or 40 minutes in the day, and I ended up taking a loser. So it was one loss yesterday, one win today. And so just this week has been, onesie twosies that it just feels a little dicey. We need the market to pick up. Next week is FOMC rate decision, and usually the Monday and Tuesday of those type of weeks are very slow. So if tomorrow's slow, then I anticipate Monday and Tuesday will also be slow. Wednesday will be fireworks because that's where the rate decision comes out. I think everybody's expecting that nothing's going to happen. They're not going to change the rate, but they will probably add color commentary of what they think they're going to do for the rest of the year. So maybe that's going to at least shake up the market a little bit, or this could just be the start of a very slow, kind of meandering summer. So hopefully that was helpful.